Okay.
I'm joined with a legend in the bluegrass industry, and he's on Sirius 65 6 days of the week. He's Chris Jones. How you doing this afternoon, Chris?
Doing great, Joe. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, but it's one of those days where I miss Lester Flatt. So.
Oh, yeah, well, I have a lot of those days myself.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of ironic because I've been listening to you for months, because I got Sirius about in August, and you're one of the reasons why I bought it, because I would listen to one of the free previews, and I would listen to it on Dish Network. I'm like, oh, man, I got to listen to more bluegrass. I'll get the reason why in a few minutes. I'm like, oh, yeah, I went out and bought a Sirius, and then as soon as I turn on, listen to 65, and the first time I ever listened to you, and actually having Sirius, you were driving to northern Alberta, and you're in northern Alberta today, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, and it's probably snowing there, right?
It is. A little light snow falling, and, yeah, it's winter wonderland right now.
You know, it's kind of ironic. Right now, it's snowing right now. I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. It's snowing pretty hard, actually, so I figured to toss that in since you're in northern Alberta, so.
Well, see, we're on the same wavelength.
That's right. But let's just start about your career in the bluegrass. Now, you're a guitar player, and you're actually married to a guitar player. You're married to Sally Jones, who's also a singer-songwriter. How did that happen?
Well, it's an interesting story, and it does involve northern
Alberta,
northern B.C., because she's from up here, which is the main reason that I'm here. I played in a band called Weary Hearts back in the late 80s. Ron Block was the banjo player, Butch Baldessari played mandolin, and Mike Bubb was the bass player. And when they hired me, they said, well, you know, we got some good dates booked, and we're also going to be playing up in northwestern Canada at a festival, and our banjo player is marrying somebody up there. We're going to the wedding. So Ron was marrying my wife's sister, Sandra. We went to the wedding. So we met at a bluegrass festival in Chetwynd, British Columbia, and spent 4 or 5 days out there at their family's ranch preparing for the wedding, and that's how I met the sister of the bride, and the rest is history, I guess. So,
wow.
I was just mentioning actually on Sirius that I was Ron Block and I are married to sisters. Usually, it's kind of nice. We get to spend we probably play more music together, all of us up here, than we do around Nashville. Even though we live a couple of miles from each other there. We get up here, and we're sort of done with touring, and everybody's less busy. We get a chance to sit around and play and sing some songs. So it's really nice.
Sounds like a good time, my friend. Now, how'd you get started? Like, what was your influences in starting, like, playing guitar and your musical career?
Well, when I was in my teens, I was listening to country and bluegrass music. My dad and my stepmom lived in New Mexico, and my stepmom in particular was, whose name was also Chris, was a very big country and bluegrass fan, and so I listened to a variety of stuff, but the bluegrass really grabbed me, and I heard Flatt and Scruggs and the Osborne Brothers, and I was just starting to play guitar too, and so hearing Doc Watson and some people like that really got me fired up to play with a flat pick, and so I worked on it from that, and met some bluegrass musicians out there in New Mexico, and I guess the first bluegrass festival I ever went was out west in Hugo, Oklahoma, and then went to some other western festivals, but then went back. I grew up in the Northeast in New York State, and my mom lived there, and my first band was there. I played in a band that was called Horse Country, which had some different musicians in it, but a banjo player named Bob Mavian who really helped me a lot, and a mandolin player named Barry Mitterhoff, great mandolin player. So that was kind of my training ground. My first full-time band was actually when I joined Special Consensus. Just after I turned 21, I moved out to Chicago and joined that band. So.
Wow. And you got a bunch of CDs on ChrisJonesMusic.com. You can also get CDs on Amazon. What was the first album CD you ever came out with?
Well, I had already been playing a number of years, but I hadn't recorded that much. I was on one album with Special Consensus that went out of print, and then we did one album together with Weary Hearts, and a couple little sort of a song or two here or there in some collections. But the first solo album didn't happen until after I was kind of went on my own. I'd been playing in the Lynn Morris band and doing some other things on the side, and decided to form my own band. So 1995 was when I went into the studio and put an album out called Blinded by the Rose.
Mm-hmm.
And my band wasn't formed yet, so I used a lot of members of Union Station at the time. Adam Steffi and Barry Bales, and Ron played banjo, and Aubrey Haney played fiddle. It was kind of the core of the band. Aubrey was just getting going as a studio musician. Might have been, I don't know, 19 or 20, but it was a fun studio band, and actually put the album out on a Dutch record label, Strictly Country. So that was my first releases with them. Then I moved on to Rebel Records.
Oh, wow. And now what are you with? What's the record label called? I believe it's called Little Dog, right?
Little Dog, yeah. It's a small label out of Los Angeles that's run by guitar player and producer Pete Anderson, who was he's a Grammy-winning producer and musician, and he produced most of Dwight Yoakam's first stuff for a lot of his big albums, and was the guitar player for Dwight for a long time, and he's a very creative guy. He's interested in all different kinds of music. So he contacted me kind of out of the blue. He had heard me on one of the satellite TV networks that plays bluegrass. He was listening late at night and sent me an email, and I thought, well, this would be pretty interesting, and to get a chance to work with somebody like that. And so I've done one record for him so far. Oh,
and that's called Too Far Down the Road, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and people can purchase that on ChrisJonesMusic.com, correct?
Yep, that's the place.
Awesome. And, you know, I was just thinking, because I was at Best Buy a few days ago, and I was looking for Chris Jones and Sally Jones. Couldn't find that. And I was like, that's horrible. Hey, it's not in stores, but everybody go to ChrisJonesMusic.com. Perfect Christmas present for everybody.
Yeah, I'll have to caution, because I fill orders myself, and I usually sign all the CDs myself. Which is
there you go. So you get an autograph from the legend Chris Jones here.
Yeah, I love your to order for Christmas. You'd have to act fast, because my warehouse is going to be down for the holiday, but it'll be back up again the first week of January. But there's a notice on the site that'll tell you, so you know when the deadline is. But yeah, I appreciate you mentioning that, because it is for a lot of different artists nowadays. It's there are fewer of the large CD stores, with the Tower going out of business and things like that, and it's harder to find bluegrass than it was a while there. And
brutal,
so the internet has taken up the slack. And one thing about visiting the artist sites themselves, some people know that the funds go to the artist that way, and frequently not much trickles down otherwise.
All right, and now it says here on your biography that you were on the Conan O'Brien show, right?
Oh yeah, I did a tour a few years ago with the Chieftains, and had a lot of good opportunities through that. We played some amazing places like Lincoln Center in New York and the Kennedy Center in Washington, and the Chieftains have done a couple of Nashville session albums, and so they were featuring some of those songs. So I was there as a singer to sing some songs, and also just to play guitar with them through the tour, and that was exciting to me, because I love their music, and I've always liked Irish music. So it was 2 stretches of 3 weeks. We covered a lot of ground and did some different TV things, and one of them was the Conan O'Brien show with Earl Scruggs. So that was that was a thrill for me. I'd only played with Earl once before under not the best circumstances, so this was really fun. We went out and played Sally Gooden, and what I came away with that was Conan O'Brien is really tall. I had no idea, but anyway, that was a lot of fun. We also did the Emerald Live show, which they reran a bunch. It was the St. Patrick's Day show, and so that was kind of fun.
Oh man, that should have been like I don't know if you have a TV guide, but on the TV guide, just like featuring Chris Jones, that'd be awesome. But speaking of tall, every picture I've seen you look really tall. How tall are you?
6'4".
Wow.
I kind of understated it for a while. My driver's license still says 6'3", because I don't know, I stopped measuring too early. Apparently I grew a little more than I thought, so apparently I've been 6'4" the whole time without knowing it. But But yeah, I used to play a little basketball. I was never that good, but played